This podcast is brought to you by Emote Projects Limited. The podcast is for educational purposes only. Seek professional advice to get specific help for your project. Enjoy this week's show.
Welcome to An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast. She's the architect.
And he's the DJ.
Okay, today, this is basically our, can we say it's our first season 3 episode?
No, we've already had an episode.
Yeah, but we weren't there. Oh, we were. We weren't here. Okay, this is our first episode in our usual place, but it's our second.
So when we prepared for the show, I didn't see
This coming.
this this happening. But can we introduce what we're going to talk about today?
What are we looking at today?
Okay, so today we thought we'd have a little conversation. So following on from our visit, our
actual first.
Yes, our first episode for this season, where we got to visit Parker and Mphangela. You remember that, right?
Yes, I do. I was there.
So following that season, there were a few things that came up that
we thought we could
talk about. Yeah, and so today we will be talking about your role as the one who's building the home, you as a client, because you are the one who's saying, I've got this issue, can you solve it for me? Yeah. We're talking about that. I think with Parker and Mphangela, it was really nice talking with them.
It was.
And they were like, they were quite mature in terms of how it is that they decide as a couple how to do things. I don't know if we're there yet. We're like 15 years in, and I'm not so sure. Are we
15 years in what?
Marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure, because people are like 15 years in what? 15 years into construction?
15 years being married, and we still have issues with deciding who does what, and yeah.
But I'm very understanding, and I know with time you will improve in your ways, and we will get there. Carry on.
Shots fired. Just talking to them, there were, I think Mphangela brought up the issue that she wasn't involved
Not that much, yes.
Yeah.
You left it too.
And she left a lot of like the technical stuff, the stuff like construction and whatnot, that was left to Parker. And we thought we'd talk about the role, what role you play, like from the very beginning, because I think Mphangela actually communicated with us that
later on.
Yes, she realized that, I should have been involved early on, and whatever happens early on affects the outcome.
Yeah.
So I thought we could talk about that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So
where do you want to start?
I think there was a conversation we had yesterday when we were talking about the show.
Yeah.
About involvement, being involved from the very beginning.
And I asked that, is there like one way of doing it that says this is how much you should be involved in a project? Because, and I gave an example that, what if someone says, you know what, let's say it's a couple.
Yeah.
And then I say, you know, I'll leave it up to you. You decide everything. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
How does that look? Would that be fine?
Well, I think it's fine if you're in agreement that yes, these are the different roles that you need to play. But I think with the building project, there's a lot that's going on. And it's very difficult to just have one person being the one to take the bulk of the decision making and doing everything. I think it really is complex, and it does get tiring, and there are lots of processes. So when you're doing it on your own, it does get challenging, and you still need support as you're going through, especially if you're managing it yourself. So I think it's fine to say, okay, you do it. But as a couple, I think the better thing would be you make the decisions together. So you decide from the get-go, what do we want to achieve? Because if you said to me, okay, you make the decisions, and then now we are in the house we've built together, and you're sitting in the bedroom, and it doesn't.
I would
Where's
like
this?
some
What about
space.
this? What about that?
Space. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, so then where were you? You said I could make the decisions, but then it affects you.
Yes.
It affects how you use the space. So there has to be a way of coming together and getting those ideas together. Maybe like making those, I've been saying high level, but that's very business talk.
So instead of high level.
But like the main decisions. So like, what do we want to achieve? We want to build a house. What's this house supposed to do? What's the problem that this house is going to solve? Yeah. So I think it's better that when it comes to making decisions, that you do that together. Yeah.
And I also thought, you know what? Looking at the same example that I gave, where one person says, "No, I'm okay with it," you might think you are okay with it, and chances are you're probably doing this for the first time. You're embarking on this project for the first time, so you think, no, I don't really need to be that involved. But the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. And in this case, you don't know that you really, really need to be involved. There needs to be some level of involvement from both parties
Yeah.
in whatever project that you're getting into.
Yeah. I think if I go back to the analogy of like, like a corporate environment where you've got a board, and then you've got management, and you've got skilled people who are actually doing things. So like the board, the executive are like the decision makers, but they're not necessarily the one with the skills to actually implement the work.
The day to day.
Yes, exactly. So they like come up with that, like, this is where we're going, this is what I want to do. So in the first instance, that's what you're going to do together, or as an individual, you're going to decide, this is what I want, this is what I want to achieve, I want to solve this problem. And when we're talking about problem solving, it could be that where you are right now, maybe you're renting, and you've got two children, a boy and a girl. They're small, so they're sharing a room. But you feel like, okay, they're going to grow older. And they're going to need separate rooms. So we want to make sure that our house has a bedroom for each. Or maybe you have a problem with storage. Like you've got specific needs. Maybe you play golf. Guys like playing golf.
Which I don't.
Yeah.
That's just an example, but I don't play golf.
You sound so offended when I said that.
Don't play golf.
Okay, yeah,
I play golf.
let's pretend you play golf. And you've got equipment where in this house there's no storage, so your golf stuff is in the dining room. And yeah, so then you're like, okay, we want to build the house together, and we want to make sure that we've got space for our stuff. Like, one good example is that you're always saying, I want my own space to work.
Why am I always saying that?
I want my own space to work. So then that's the information that you're giving. That's like the high level, that's the high level decision making that you're giving. But when it comes to the actual building, maybe I'm better with keeping track of the money, because we need to keep track of the money. That will be one of the things. We need to be making sure that people are paid on time and things like that. So maybe I'm better at doing that, and maybe you're still better with the high level decision making. So then it's fine for me to do that.
Yes.
But I'm doing it after we've agreed on what the big picture is. So I think Yeah, that I think that's a better way to approach it. Because I do see like a lot of people kind of like zone out, especially especially when it's technical stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it's women who I think a lot more women feel like, oh, because this is it's a technical thing.
It's
So
best left to
yeah, let him be the
let
one
him
to
to deal with all.
yeah, but I think intuitively we know, like we have a sense of this should be like this should be like this. I think there should actually be more female managers of projects because we'll get better projects done.
I agree.
You agree? Yeah, so I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
No, I agree with what you said. Yeah. Um, yeah. No thoughts on it. I agree with everything you just said.
Okay,
You know,
that's how we're doing it.
just like we're doing it. Girl power. Okay. So I have a question.
Yeah,
In the example that you gave of a couple building, have young kids, you said they also have to take into consideration what happens with the kids when they grow up.
yeah,
But then you also have to consider those kids when they grow up, at some point, they will leave the house.
yeah.
So, how far ahead should you be looking when you are putting this dream house or your house together?
Yeah.
Like practically, how far ahead should you be looking?
So I think it will depend based on your situation. So it really is like specific to somebody's situation, but you'll look at your ability to be able to make this investment again. Or so if you're starting to build, you want to kind of like think through how long will we be here.
Okay.
In Zambia, there aren't so many options for you to do that, like to keep changing your
Yeah.
home. So
That
you
was like,
find chances are
one.
that will be where you'll be.
Yeah.
So you'll have to have a conversation to think through, like, okay, when the kids go, if there's this scenario, what would we be looking at? Or how could we start thinking about what the home would be like? There are a lot of people who, like right now, they think, oh, it's a great idea for me to build a double-story house. Then they take years to build the house because of the finances that they have. By the time that they're
Finally done.
building, yes, they're much older. The bones are starting to creak and whatnot, and then it's becoming clear that maybe going up is not so practical. You know what I mean? Like so if you're thinking in that way that like okay, this is going to be the home that we will be in, then you will think that okay, I'm going to get old at some point in time. And will the home be able to accommodate that?
Okay.
Those are definitely conversations that I think you have to have.
Okay.
Yeah, but it depends on the family because it could be that you say, okay, we want to build a home for our growing family. We believe that we'll be here for maybe 20, 25 years. What will that 20, 25 years look like? And then you work towards that. Because maybe when the kids leave, we will want to have a smaller space.
Yeah.
And you could, if you've got a big piece of land, you could think like, okay, when they leave, this will be our retirement patch, and we can do this later. But it also depends on how much money you have. Maybe what you're able to invest is in that forever home and not anything after. So it really depends.
Yeah. It really depends.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in summary,
Yeah.
how would we put together what we've talked about today?
So in summary, so we've been looking at your role,
Your involvement in your
your
project.
involvement in your project. From the very beginning, you need to communicate clearly what it is that you want. What's the outcome? What are the problems that you're trying to solve? What are the things that will make this space work for you? And at that point, you're not looking at solutions
No.
because whoever's going to help you is going to give you the solutions. But you are saying, this is the problem that I have. This is the space that we need. We need this type of space
And
in order
how can we make it work?
Yes, how can we make it work? So you're thinking through that. You're also communicating like your budget. You're deciding together what do we want? What is the outcome? Or as an individual, you're deciding what do I want as an outcome? So if it's rent, if it's a rental property, how much do you want to get? Who should be renting your home? Which type of client are you thinking about? So those are the decisions you have to make at the beginning. During the process, you're giving feedback. You're giving feedback on the solutions that are being given to you. You're making sure that what's being done follows what you said in the beginning. So you're involved in that way. You're also challenging if you need to say, hey, this is not what we said, or I'm not happy with this. And you're doing that throughout the process. You're not being difficult, but
Which you shouldn't. You're being reasonable.
You should make sure that whatever you've communicated at the beginning is what is being done. And if it's not, then challenge it. That's your role. And then, of course, you're making sure that money is being paid on time. If you're the one who's managing the project, you're showing up when you need to be. That's basically what you have to do. Okay. I'm saying basically, it's a big role.
Yeah, it's a bit more than that, but yeah, basically that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, that's what you should be doing.
All right. That makes sense.
Decision making approvals, approving things on time, all of those are part of what it is that you need to do that will make your project it will contribute to your project being successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense.
So before we go, we can end on a musical note.
We have to.
Yeah, Mr. DJ. Maybe you can tell us what you've been listening to, recommend something that we can put on our playlist to listen to while we wait for the next podcast.
I think I can do that. Yeah. This week, man, I've been listening to everything from Tony Tone.
Old school,
the album House of Music. You spoke about 15 years. We were celebrating our anniversary just the other day, and there was plenty of Anita Baker on the playlist for that, not just that day, but that week. Everything from the album Rapture, Composition, Rhythm of Love. And let me say my favorite Anita Baker album is, can you guess?
Rapture.
No. I know for lots of people that listen to Anita Baker, it's most likely Rapture or Rhythm of Love. For me, my favorite album is Compositions. It's her most jazzy album.
So is that the recommendation?
No, that's not.
Really?
Still going. My recommendation, though, for this week would be the album Volcano by Django.
By Django?
Yes, Django.
Volcano by Django. Okay.
If you do get a chance to listen to the album, you should listen to that album. Pay close attention to the song Bad, or is it Good? Good at Breaking Hearts.
Good at Breaking Hearts?
Yes.
Okay.
I love that song.
All right.
So yeah, that particular song would be my recommended song for the week. Good at Breaking Hearts.
Good at Breaking Hearts by Django. Okay. Cool.
And that's where we end today's show.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you and see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye. An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast has been brought to you by Emote Projects Limited. The show is hosted by Kalenga, he's the DJ, and me, Mphangela, I'm the architect. Media by Monkey Business Agency. Music by Bless the Creative.